concerned about its potential impact on the global economy?
I think that China will do a very good job.
Trump never got a CDC team on the ground in China. And the travel ban he brags about? Trump let in 40,000 travelers from China into America after he signed it. Not exactly airtight. Look around. 22 million Americans are out of work, and we have more officially reported cases and deaths than any other country. Donald Trump left this country unprepared and unprotected for the worst public health and economic crisis in our lifetime. And now we're paying the price.
Now they're giving you the other. It's called testing. But they don't want to use all of the capacity that we've created. We have tremendous capacity. Dr. Birx will be explaining that. They know that. The governors know that. The Democrat governors know that. They're the ones that are complaining.
Oh, really? Just Democrats complaining? Okay, why don't we check in then with the Republican governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan?
There's no question this has been the number one stumbling block in America, the lack of availability of testing, and you really can't get to any point where you can reopen the country until, not just in my state, but across the country, we can do much larger scale testing.
Huh. And what about the Republican governor of Ohio, a state that Trump actually won in 2016? Here's what he said this week about reagents, which is basically a fancy word for the chemical compound needed for testing.
One of our problems for our hospitals who are doing testing is lack of reagents. And this does lie with the FDA. It certainly would allow our institutions to really ramp up the number. I mean, they've got capacity. Their capacity is out here, and they're here in what they're able to do every single day because the reagent is being really rationed. The reagent is a problem that we have to go to Washington and see, with the FDA as far as the approval.
I want to play for you very briefly the Director General of the organization, whose name is Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Here he is talking about what was done and why. Take a listen. Back in February.
With 99% of cases in China, this remains very much an emergency for that country, but one that holds a very grave threat for the rest of the world, unless we use the window of opportunity that we have now.
Today, I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus.
Of all jobs are necessary for the supply chain, and when you start messing with the supply chain, if we run out of food, there's going to be a whole lot worse than what's going on with the few people who are suffering from the disease, for which there is a very effective treatment.
Okay, can you talk about where you're from and then what made you bring your lovely pig, and then also maybe what the effective treatment could be?
Well, no, I forget, hydrochloroquinic something, I can't pronounce it, but that medicine with zinc and vitamin C, I mean, many people are recovering, far more are recovering than are dying. And I'm here to say, open up Minnesota.
Okay, thank you, scientist lady. Welcome back to AM Joy. People really believe the things they hear during Donald Trump's so-called news briefings. She was not a scientist lady, by the way. And they're all too happy to take cues from him on social media when he retweets supporters urging them to get rid of Dr. Anthony Fauci. So it's no surprise to hear them chant, "Fire Fauci," at the state capitol in Austin, Texas, Saturday. Speakers at that demonstration also screamed, get this, fascist Fauci, and accused him of making up COVID-19. Seriously. But when you see these protests, particularly in states like Michigan, which Donald Trump needs to win in order to be reelected, don't assume these people just woke up one day, removed their protective face coverings, and spontaneously walked out of their houses, just eager to catch COVID-19. Just like Donald Trump's daily takeover of America's evening news broadcasts, these demonstrations are also serving as his reelection strategy. The Associated Press reports that, quote, the protest in Michigan was organized by the Michigan Conservative Coalition, a group founded by a GOP state representative and his wife, Michonne Maddock, who is on the advisory board for an official Trump campaign group called Women for Trump, and is also the co-founder of Michigan Trump Republicans. And it's not just Donald Trump. These backers also have ties to members of his administration. In this case, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. Quote, another group promoting the event, the Michigan Freedom Fund, is run by Greg McNeely, a longtime political advisor to the DeVos family, who are prolific Republican donors and have funded conservative causes for decades. And now Trump advisor stephenmoore, a member of the White House's Council to Reopen the Economy, is helping organizers in Wisconsin. Because the way he sees it, these people, the protesters, are, quote, the modern-day Rosa Parks protesting against injustice and a loss of liberties. Yep, you heard me right. Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, who was already an organizer for the civil rights movement in Alabama when she was arrested for sitting in the whites-only section of a bus. Rosa Parks, who became a civil rights icon because her actions on December 1st, 1955, sparked one of the largest events of the civil rights movement, the Montgomery bus boycotts, which ended a full year later with a Supreme Court ruling against segregated buses in a case called Browder versus Gale, involving 4 other heroic women, including Claudette Colvin. stephenmoore is somehow confusing Rosa Parks with these people who showed up in Michigan waving Confederate flags, screaming, and blocking ambulances. In fact, for some strange reason, he's been invoking Rosa Parks all week. Here's what he said in an interview on a right-wing program.
I'm working with a group in Wisconsin that wants to do a drive-in. So, you remember the old sit-ins, but this is going to be a drive-in. They're going to shut down the Capitol. We have one big donor in Wisconsin. I'm not going to mention his name. And I told him about this. He said, Steve, I promise I will pay the bail and legal fees for anyone who gets arrested. So this is a great time, gentlemen and ladies, for civil disobedience. We need to be the Rosa Parks here and protest against these government injustices.